The history of Amherstburg is a key point of difference. There's no other place in Essex County that has a history so rich, that has a fort in the middle of town. And it is something that really, really makes us stand out. Recently, the Amherstburg Community Foundation did a survey, and they found history to be the third reason why people like and visit Amherstburg. So if our vision is to be a tourist town, a draw like that definitely brings people to town, and it brings them to town to spend money. So the one thing, though, is that we've already lost quite a bit of our history. We've destroyed a lot of historical buildings. I walk past a parking lot just about every day when I'm in town that I know a historical building sat on, and it's an empty parking lot. So these are the things that we have to be cognizant of moving forward, that we start to protect our historical buildings and recognize that we need to preserve this for future generations. So I think that it's very important that the people of the town of Amherstburg, and especially custodians of these buildings, understand that championing and protecting these investments and supporting the heritage staff that is going to be coming on, I believe it's in July, so very, very shortly, in communicating with them with regard to how what the challenges are of owning and maintaining historical buildings will help us kind of gain a force to have the funds available, and perhaps grants, budget dollars to continue to preserve these buildings. So this is a very important key difference to us, and the value in it is irreplaceable.
So Lori, you and a partner have recently purchased the 2A Automotive building. There's a lot of history in that building. Tell us about it.
Yes, there is, and it's still in it. So that particular building was built in 1879. So we're looking at, moving on to a 150-year-old building. And it was actually a rebuild following the fire in town in 1875. It's very interesting as I read about the architectural points on it. The Amherstburg Echo reported things like the windows were imported from England, and the galvanized steel cornices over the windows were, and to this day, they're still in perfect condition. If you look at that, the rest of the building may be falling down around them, but they are in perfect condition. So it was quite a buzz when this building was, when it was raised back all the 150 years ago. And it's important to understand that it's still a really cool building under that. We will peel back some paint and dig in as soon as we can and start taking a look at what's there.
Now, you know my next question.
Yeah.
Can you share the plans? What are the plans with the building? Anything exciting happening?
Well, a lot of exciting things are going to be happening in that building. It's been left behind, but our focus now is to kind of waken that sleeping giant. It's been a little bit neglected over the years, but we really envision that area as being a very lively area where people can gather, where there's outdoor space, where 12 months out of the year, people will be able to enjoy the Murray Street corridor again. So
it takes me to my next question, and I'll leave it at that. I know you don't want to share things, and that's fine. It's all good. I understand it. I'm in the business. So my next question for you, though, follows that point. What do you envision? What would you love to see happening to Murray Street in that block?
Well, as I read through the historical points and the things that we're very lucky to have, the Marsh Society have gathered all of this information for us. I would love to see that same vibe happening again. That building once housed a bank and a hardware store and a dry goods store, and there was a lot of density in the town at that time. So people really depended on that spot for sustainability. So I can envision somebody living downtown coming to that area, just feeling like they could walk the street and feeling the history of the town again.
Last question for you, Lori. What is your advice to those other folks that own historical buildings in town?
Well, I think that my best advice is speak up. Really, instead of letting your building go to ruin, champion for it. Make it known that you are a good custodian of that building and that you are ready to preserve its history. And we may need to speak to council about putting together grants to help with that, because it is a very expensive project. But if we encourage investment in it, then the town over the next few years could be completely refreshed and renewed. I think, again, really good communication with that heritage planner that is coming into town, because we have so many historical properties, is going to be key. That the picture here that you're seeing is Kirsten and Mark Herzog's building that was just kind of unveiled to us recently. And I mean, I must have myself stood in front of it for 20 minutes. It is absolutely beautiful. And a little bit of history behind that, it housed a liquor store, it housed a lawyer's office, a bank, which to me, all three of those go together very well. And people live there, have lived there from the early 1900s. So we're not only looking at commerce, we're looking at population density, and we're looking at the way that urban areas work. So these are very, very important things moving when we consider our sustainability as a town, when we consider climate, that people can just come downstairs and be able to access things like hardware stores and dry goods. So it's a really, really cool movement, and it is going to completely refresh our town.
I agree. They've done a great job with the building. Fantastic. Thank you, Lori. Appreciate it.